be a fairly long session, 1.5 hours, and you have to stick with it. Even that is just going to cover just bits and pieces, but it'll give a good background.
Hello and welcome to this course on Google Ads.
Hello.
My name is Osman De Silva and I'm the founder of Tech Citizen Entrepreneurship Academy. Section 1, Course Introduction. Who is this course for? It is for everyone who is interested in improving their knowledge and experience of Google Ads. It can include business owners and entrepreneurs, startups and founders, service providers and contractors, as well as anyone interested in digital marketing. Who is Osman De Silva? I'm a founder and instructor at Tech Citizen Entrepreneurship Academy. I have 30 plus years experience in training, mentorship, and instructing on courses in business, finance, accounting, and technology. I'm a mentor to startups and entrepreneurs, and I have extensive experience in industry and professional experience working for small, large, medium-sized, and very big companies as well, international companies. What is Google Ads? It's a platform for businesses to post paid ads by clicks. We use the word business, so an advertiser who wants to post their ads on the Google website. And this is referred to as PPC, pay per click, which means the advertiser business will only pay Google if the searcher clicks on the ad, which means if the searcher looks at the ad but does not click on it, you will not have to pay Google. Why does it work? The searcher finds the item that he's looking for, he or she is looking for, and clicks on it. Then the advertiser or business pays for the click. How is it done? The business has to bid in a live auction with other businesses to rank on top of the Google page. On any Google page, there'll be a section of paid ads as well as organic or unpaid information as well at the bottom of the page. There can only be a certain number of paid ads on every page, say 2, 3, 4, 5 max. Every time an advertiser wants to go and put the ad on top of the page, they have to bid in a live auction. This is all done automatically and it is live, and the advertiser does not get to see who they are competing with in this auction. We do not know which companies we're competing with, but it is a live auction. The word live means you get your reply very quickly, whether you're successful or not in the auction, as well as things can change immediately. If you make a slight change to your ad, maybe in terms of the text or in terms of the price you're willing to pay, or if you put in a completely new ad into the auction, then the auction starts again. So any change you make, we start putting ourselves into a new auction every time. And it's all done automatically with millions, if not billions, of data points that Google algorithm deals with. A brief history. Google began as a research project around 25 years ago, so it is now quite a mature company, and very large one at that. However, Google Ads officially launched in 2000. This means Google Ads is also very mature as an advertising platform, as it is around 20 years old now. Over this 20 years, the Google Ads format has undergone many iterations, and the company is constantly experimenting with different formats, layouts. So you will see the platform change from time to time because they're constantly experimenting with things. And also we'll see that people always think of Google as being a search company, but it makes virtually all its money from advertising, and that's billions of dollars. So it can be seen as an advertising company. The starting point for Google Ads is to first create a campaign. For an analogy, your account is your garden, and the campaigns are the trees you grow in the garden. Therefore, plan each campaign carefully before you create it. Searcher, Sarah. Key concepts. Google Ads is cheaper than other advertising platforms, but it is more expensive than Facebook ads. In the top of this chart, you will see the traditional advertising mediums that have been around for decades or hundreds of years. They are extremely expensive for most businesses. And remember, most businesses are small and medium-sized businesses that cannot afford those services. However, in the past few decades, 10 or 20 years, we have reached the era of digital advertising, and there are platforms like Google Ads, LinkedIn, Facebook at the bottom that have reduced the cost of advertising, and you can reach millions of people around the world at a lower cost. Looking at the history of the revenue of Google from about the time it started to recently, the current revenue is reaching $160+ billion per annum in 2019. In 2020-21, it's much higher. As you can see from this chart, the revenue of the company is increasing exponentially. However, when it started, Google Ads started 20 years ago, it had few advertisers on the platform. There was very little competition for advertising space on the platform, and hence the cost per click that the advertiser had to pay to Google was very low. And also, initially, Google wanted to encourage more advertisers to join its platform, so it gave them very cheap or free deals. Now it's just the reverse. The cost has gone up considerably. It's very competitive, but you can reach a much wider audience. When they say that Google is an advertising company, it means that most of its revenues, over 95%, comes from the advertisers who pay Google to use its platform to post their adverts. There are different types of adverts you can post on the Google Chrome browser, and we look at that in more detail. So it's best to think of Google as an advertising company and of course a data analytics company, but most people think of Google as a search company. Google Ads versus Facebook ads. Which platform should you advertise your products and services on? I would say use both of them. But if you're new to this form of digital advertising, start on one platform first and then build up your expertise on that platform, and then you can scale to another platform. Also, I would recommend always going for paid advertising rather than free or organic advertising. I'll explain that in more detail. Now let's compare Google versus Facebook. Remember, Google is more established. Facebook's only been around for about 10 years. Also, Google has a wider audience. It'll be a lot of B2B, which is business to business as well, while Facebook usually is social advertising, so it's business to consumer. Google has a massive advantage that the advertiser or the business will only pay per click. So only if a searcher clicks on an advert will they have to pay Google. So if the advert just appears several times, that's an impression. That's what's called an impression. But the user does not click on it, then the advertiser does not pay Google. So this is very important because this de-risks the advertising spend for the business or the advertiser. And a few more points you can look at here. When you do advertising and marketing, you're going to come across this funnel quite a lot. Whether you're studying about advertising or you're actually doing it in practice. It's called a conversion funnel, sales funnel, or even purchase funnel. At the top of the market is where you approach most of your customers, say 100% of your customers, and as you go towards the bottom of the funnel, fewer and few customers will actually get out their wallet or their credit card and actually pay for your good. So say at the top of the funnel where awareness, you might start with 100 people who show an interest in your product. Then all the way down, you might end up with 5, 6, 7 out of the 100 actually physically buying your product and paying for it. So we would say the conversion rate is about 5 to 7%. At the top of the funnel, you'll hear words that we talk of people doing research, or they're just the searchers doing research, or their comparison. They're just searching for knowledge or information. But of course, as you go at the bottom, they'll use the word, I want to buy this. I can pay with my credit card. So the important thing to remember, at the top of the funnel or somewhere in the middle, you will get clicks. And right at the bottom of the funnel, you'll get conversions. Now, the important thing to remember is clicks is not the same as conversions. You can have many people clicking on your advert or on your buying page, but they don't actually buy the product. When they physically buy the product, put in their credit card, press buy, that's a conversion. So from an advertiser or business point of view, the most important thing is conversion. But from Google's point of view, to them the most important thing is clicks, because it is called a pay-per-click model. The user pays per click. So we've got to understand the buyer or the searcher's intent and behavior. This is the difference between paid and organic searches. I would recommend people to always go for the paid adverts. The organic is more a long-term project. So in this picture here, everything in green are paid adverts where the user will actually pay for the advert to be posted on Google's website. So for example, if someone searches women's shoes for sales online, the boxes in green are the paid adverts, while everything else at the bottom left-hand side is called organic searches. or SEO, which is not covered in this course. Here's another example. Everything in red are paid search ads. So for example, if someone types in Minneapolis PPC management, you'll get a lot of paid advertising. And you can see a small orange ad. It says 80 ads. So these are paid advertising, while everything else is normal organic searches. I call this the three amigos. There are three competing stakeholders in this process, and they have very different priorities and interest. Let's start on the right hand side with the customer or the searcher. He or she just goes into Google and types in, I'm looking for brown shoes. There's no cost involved to this customer or the searcher. However, they do want anything that shows up on the page, whether it's paid ads or organic, it has got to be very accurate. It's got to satisfy their requirements, and it's got to be time efficiency. They do not want it to take too long to find something. It must come up like immediately. In the middle, you have the business of the advertiser. They have to use the Google Ads platform. They would like the cost per click to be as low as possible from their perspective. And also they are very interested in getting qualified leads. They are interested in conversions. That's the most important thing for the business, conversions or qualified leads. However, looking at it from Google's perspective, it's very different. They are using something called PageRank algorithm, auctions, and the huge amount of billions of data points. The information is constantly changing. They have to put all this information together and put an ad in front of the searcher. From their perspective, they want to have as high cost per click as possible. Also for them, it's very important that they place the relevant ad in front of the customer. Because if they do not place the relevant ad in front of the customer, then fewer customers are going to search on Google for ads. And from Google's perspective, all they are concerned is on clicks, because they get paid per click. How does Google know which ads to display? Of course, it uses a lot of historic data that it collects from you. And then using all that data, when it knows you're on the browser searching for something, it'll present you with what it thinks are your personal preferences using the complex algorithm that it has. It collects data from your historic data from different sources when you initially register, all the searches you're doing each and every minute of every day, your behavior and buying habits. So it can collect data from advertisers as well. Using all the information that you, the searcher, gives Google, directly or indirectly from the above, they will match you with a business that is trying to advertise to you. If we look at the process, say someone types in local pet food store, of course they're going to be in stage 2, they're going to be different advertisers. They're all trying to compete for those same keywords. Then Google will rank all the advertisers according to certain criteria which we'll discuss. And then finally it will show A as being the top advertiser and BCD at the bottom. The important thing to realize here is stages 2 and 3 are not seen by anyone except for Google. Only Google is able to see all the people competing for relevant keywords, and it also has its own algorithm which is constantly changing. We know quite a lot about this algorithm, but considering it changes all the time, we can make various guesses about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Metrics and measurement. You will see a lot of these terms and metrics used when you're dealing with Google Ads. This could be on the dashboard, when you're doing an Excel analysis, when you're reading articles about Google Ads. So you've got to get used to this terminology, which is terminology that's very common to all digital advertising. It's not specific to Google Ads. So it's a good thing you know about this to improve your knowledge on digital marketing. First, we have impressions. This is purely the number of times your ad crops up or is shown to a user. Remember, it is up to Google. Google will decide when and where your ads are shown. All you can do is bid in an auction. Remember, you're competing with many other advertisers. So if I type in pet food in LA or pet food shop in LA, and I'm one of the advertisers, I bid for it, sometimes my ad is going to show up, sometimes it will not show up, sometimes you'll see the competitor's ad. There are various factors involved in this, and we'll be covering this in the course. So this idea of showing up is what an impression is. Clicks is when the user actually physically, or the searcher physically clicks on your ad. Now, clicks have got nothing to do with what happens after that, whether they decide to buy a product or decide to phone you or decide to download an app. That comes in conversions. So from a business perspective or the advertiser perspective, all that is important is the conversions. From Google's point of view, what's important is the clicks, because you pay per click. That is how they've decided you pay. To look at conversions, you need conversion tracking, and we'll cover that later in the course. But what a conversion is, you decide what a conversion is to you. For example, if you decide, well, the searcher will have to actually download my app, and that after downloading an app, that becomes one conversion. Or a searcher will have to phone me for more than 35 seconds on a phone call. You're being very, very specific. They'll have to fill in a very detailed form. You'll say, look, filling in a form is my conversion, and they click submit. So it's very specific actions that the user will have to take and complete for that to be counted as one conversion. Let's look at some metrics. At this stage, if you're all new to this, this will be very theoretical, but once you actually start seeing these in the dashboard, in the Google dashboard, and start using this, you'll become very familiar with it. So the cost per click is simply the cost over the number of clicks. So for example, if we say the cost per click is $1, it cost us $100 to get 100 clicks. The click-through rate is extremely important. If you can read this information here, it's the number of clicks over the number of impressions. So for example, if you have 100 clicks over 1,000 impressions, so 100 people clicked when your ad was shown 1,000 times, the click-through rate is 0.10. There are two more important metrics here. Cost per conversion, we'll cover conversion in more detail later, but you can call it cost per action. It's called CPA, so it could be regarded as cost per action or cost per acquisition as well. They're different terminology, but they just call it CPA. So for example here, If it cost you $5,000 to get, just an example, to get 10,000 conversions, then the CPA is 0.50. Remember, these are pure ratios, yeah? Right, cost per 1,000 impressions. This is very common used in social media marketing, for example, like Facebook. And there is an M here. This M has come about from the word mille in Latin, means 1,000 impressions. So for example, this is the cost of 1,000 ad impressions, but this is not the clicks. It's purely, if your ad shows up 1,000 times, you pay, for example, $7.
Right, the next section, I just want to do a walkthrough. So
In
if you
this
log into your module, it just gives a feel of what the module is like.
We will go through the first campaign right from start to finish. It will take time, as I will explain things very carefully, but as I mentioned before, once you get used to this steps or process, you can set up campaigns in minutes, and then of course you can add things on at a later stage. So in this campaign that we're setting up, the two important things are that it'll be very highly targeted and it'll be a very lean campaign, because it is for a well-known brand. And the only reason why we can do it this way is because it is a well-known brand, and the brand I'm using in this example is Nike, Nike. So we will create a campaign and it will only have one ad group. I'll explain these ad groups more in detail later. And because it is such a well-known brand, searchers will be just using the brand name to search for this company. It will only have a handful of keywords. We don't need more, because that's how targeted this is. And I'll explain keywords later as well. And this campaign, this single campaign we're going to create, is for the UK only. When you open your Google Ads and you've logged in successfully and set up an account, this is the screen you will see here. There's nothing in it. It's blank. So to start a campaign, I can press here on campaign, or I can start a new campaign from here. I want to select this one to give me the most flexibility. And then I'm only focusing on search at the moment. We'll do the other campaign types later. And select the results you want. So I'm going to select a website. And in this case, I'm going to take in the Nike website. So I put in the website here. Of course, Nike.com is based in America, so that's the American website, but I'm putting .gb for the UK. This is a campaign purely for the UK. It says here the type is search. With the campaign name, I like to give as much information as possible. The reason is we could be having hundreds of campaigns, and I have a strict naming system to follow, and I think you should create your own one as well. Use as much space as possible here. This is going to be my first Nike campaign. I could have hundreds of them, and it is search network. I'm using the bidding strategy of max click, which I'll explain. It is for the UK only, this campaign, and this is the date I start the campaign. I exclude these. We will cover display network separately on their own. We do not want to mix search network with display network. So I'm purely selecting search network, which you can see here. And I also exclude Google search partners. These are affiliates. And I want to be highly targeted, that I only want my searchers to see this advert on the Google page, not on their affiliate partners. Show more settings. I prefer not to select an end date. And just, if you do not select an end date, make sure that you check it very, very carefully every day, because it's taking money out of your account. Reason why I don't select an end date is because if I select an end date, Google might sort of think that, oh, well, we want to end the campaign quickly, and they might try and throttle it by trying to take out more money from the account. So if I leave this open-ended, they'll think it's an ongoing campaign, and they'll be happy with that, hopefully. Ignore these for the moment. We'll come on to later. I want the ad schedule all day, all night. That's fine. Remember, we are still on campaign setting at the moment. I only am going to select the United Kingdom for this particular campaign. And if you see my the campaign name, it says UK. The language, keep it simple, only English. Audience, we'll come on to explain that much later. I would suggest when you're starting, keep the budget around, say, $10 or £10. And remember that Google will not spend over that. It could spend nothing on a particular day, and it will spend up to or less than that, but not over this amount. Bidding strategies. This is an interesting one. There are many, many bidding strategies. There's over 10. And Google is trying, there are two types. Manual bidding strategies, very few. And most of them are to do with automatic strategies, which is using Google's AI. I think what I've heard is that they might be phasing out all the manual strategies where you actually go in and you adjust the bid. And eventually they'll just try to make it all automatic, where Google controls everything. Now, the thing about this bidding is you're going to hear different people, different so-called gurus, give you different opinions on what is right and what is wrong. And the correct answer is very simple. It depends. It depends on your business, depends on what data you have. Those are the key main things that you're going to collect. And only from that, with your experience, you can develop your own strategies. We're going to cover this bidding strategy later in more detail, but there isn't a simple right and wrong answer. Right, but what it is to do an automatic strategy, Google does need data. However, for this, because you're starting off, I do not want you to be going in and doing anything manually. So we'll use maximize clicks, and it gives a description here what maximize clicks is. You can select this option where you put a cap on the click bid, but I'm not going to do this here, because again, if you do that and the cost per click is, say you put an amount of £1 or $1, but the cost per click is over that, then it's not going to take it. So leave it at this for a moment and just put maximize clicks. In here, we are going to just leave it at this one here, right? And if I can just go back with location, United Kingdom, and location options, I always go for this one because I want people to be physically present in the United Kingdom, and I exclude as many people as possible. We will cover add extensions in the next section. These are extremely important. However, a lot of people forget to do this because they're very new things in Google. People have not caught on to this. They leave it out. Extremely important, as it says, you get up to 50% high click-through rate by showing this. Now, when I press save and continue, I finished this stage 1, right? Let's see what happens. Right, it gives me this. So once I've set up the campaign, the next stage is I've got to set up an ad group and create, which it says up here, create ad groups. So I'm only creating one ad group and adding keywords.
Osman,
Yes.
Now, I'm going to make this very lean and very targeted because it is a very well-known brand, and I'm going to take the example of an existing Nike ad paid campaign. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, and I will come back to this and fill it in, and you'll see how it works. We have completed the first part of the process, which is the setting up of the campaign. The next stage is to set up an ad group, and there'll only be one ad group set up, and that ad group is going to contain keywords that are related to Nike only, because it's a very well-known brand. So in this first campaign, what I'm doing is I'm going to recreate this existing advert by Nike, and so there's no point of me trying to recreate the wheel. This is a successful advert. They have the best advertising people in their company. So I'll just take this advert. It does work. It's been tried 1,000 times and it's very successful. So how do I recreate this advert? This is, you have to insert a website link, but I'm just going to insert this /GB, which is for the UK. When you look at the template, you are given, which we'll see in a minute, you're given 2 headings. Each of the headings can have up to 30 characters. And the headings are in a darker shade, as you can see here. And each heading is 30 characters. And the heading is usually split, the sort of pipe symbol. You'll get used to this when you see it. Below the heading comes the description. That's in normal text. And again, you have 2 descriptions. Each line, one below the other, can be a maximum of 90 characters. What you notice here is they start every word with a capital letter, so it's capitalization, as well as they have highlighted their name Nike in bold. The other interesting thing is in here they have put the official Nike site or the Nike website, which gives it a bit of authenticity. So people know that this is the original website, and they can see Nike on the top as well. And you know it's a paid ad because it's got AD here, right? And this of course is going to appear right on the top of a Google page when you type in Nike, right on top. Now, just below that, you have what are called ad extensions. These extend the length and width of your ad. And we'll go through this in the next section of ad extensions. But in this particular exercise that I'm doing now, I'm going to not do any ad extensions. I just want the stop bit. That's my main thing, because I'll explain ad extensions in more detail in the next section, and we could create adverts that have these ad extensions.
Okay, folks, what it is, the starting point for the Google's ads is to create the ad and the keywords, and then eventually you'll do the campaign, which I've shown you how to do. I appreciate that you're saying the text is a bit small, but because I've on my screen I'm looking at here, I've had to put in about 3 or 4 different screens, so I've had to squash the Udemy screen a little bit. But it's just a tough thing I had to do now. But it is visible. It's just that I have to squash the screen. So remember, the first thing is to make sure you have a very good ad copyright. Then you've got to select the keywords, and then you do the campaign. And I've only shown you parts of the campaign. There's a bit more, but just for you to get the gist of it. So let's go on to see the editorial guidelines.
Copywriting for effective ads. Whichever medium you use to advertise, whether it's on video, on print, on Google Ads, they're going to have, the companies are going to have very strict guidelines that you have to follow, and each medium will have their own unique set of guidelines which you have to follow as well. In order for your ads to get approved, every ad has to go through an approval process. So it says here, we only allow ads that are clear, professional appearance and that lead users to content that is relevant, useful, and easy to interact with. So let's look at some of the guidelines specifically for Google Ads. Punctuation and spacing. They do not like too much punctuation like this here, or using that which they don't think is relevant. To get a good idea of how you actually implement this is to look at other successful ads, for example, very big companies. That's always the best starting point. Then you can improve your process from there. So in this example, we looked at the Nike ad. Capitalization, do not use words that are all capitalized like that. They do not like too much repetition. If you repeat the same words, this thing about keyword stuffing where you put your keywords several times, exact the same keyword several times in several parts of the ad, they do not like that. Or you constantly repeat buy, now. Phone numbers are not allowed, but there's a call extension that we'll cover later in the section. For some reason, they do not like the word click here, but it's not a problem because you use other call to actions like, a buy now, or we look at more call to actions later in these lectures. Always make sure that your spelling and grammar is top notch. If you don't want to make any sort of spelling errors, because every click is costing money. And of course, there are other guidelines for specific industries. For example, very, very detailed guidance for adult content, dating sites, etc. Please check and follow the guidelines. And if you want some guidance, look at existing large brands, large companies, see what they're doing to start with. And then you can adjust with more experience, you can adjust your ad copy later on. I always add lots of useful and relevant ad extensions to my Google Ads. In this way, my ad looks bigger and better on the search page. Also, I'm able to stand out from the competition as I clearly list my offers, promotions, USPs, etc. Advertiser Andy. top 10 favorite tips for copywriting. You have very little space in which you have to type your copy to create a Google ad, and every word or letter used must be very effective. They cost a lot of money, and also we want the ad to be highly relevant. So let's look at the tips to make top performing ads. First, always include 2 or 3 call to actions. You can include the call to actions in the heading as well as the descriptions, as well as the extensions we cover. And here are some, if you use get and buy, for example, buy now or shop today, these are the top performing ones. Here are some more you can use. These are using 2 words. You can also have download. It's getting people to actually take specific action. All these are action words. It's no point just showing an advert and saying, you know, you can buy clothes here or you can buy Nike shoes. Say order now or order today or register online or fill in this form. You've got to give them actions to take, very specific actions. Be current and timely. We want the most up-to-date information that you can put on. Please check your adverts and make sure that everything is live, up-to-date and current. If required, you need to update things. Also use very popular words that the searcher, the user can associate with or have a relationship with. These are some examples here. They should be very simple words, nothing too complicated, very, very simple words. For example, low price, shop today, search now, call us. I want to explain these popular words in more detail. In blue here, if you use you make it very personal. In green, you're giving them some sort of saving tips. For example, free downloads, save 20% today, or free shipping. These are action words which are really call to actions. For example, get a quote now or free download now. And then you can also add in online so people know that they can buy 24/7 online. They can buy it on the weekend. Your shop doesn't have to be open. They can buy it at any time. And they could be anywhere in the world. And also the word best is quite nice. So you say, we are voted the best with the best camera for outdoors, stuff like that. Please include links and stuff to any testimonial, because this is going to make your company or organization stand out from all the competitors. A lot of the competitors' ads look very similar. Put in links that will make you stand out. Always keep the searcher's goal in mind. Think from a searcher's point of view, what exactly, or very targeted, what exactly are they looking for? And I need to reply to their query. So please do not ask questions in the advert. Just think what question the searcher is going to have, and this is going to be my reply. I've given some information on URLs. The base of the URLs has got to be the same. You've got to put in 2 URLs. Please put ones, this is the fictitious one that the user is going to see, but of course this link, when the user clicks on it, will go directly to the main page. This is the main page up here. Put some user-friendly thing that's going to get them excited in there, in the display URL. For example, here, this is a tire company. Of course, this is only a display URL for Tire. and they put tires for all seasons. So this might get people excited and they click on it. And it goes straight to the ogether.com website. So this is the display URL you can see here. Use pre-qualifiers. This is quite important because you want people to see your ad, as well as you want to dissuade people who do not fit into your target category of potential customers. So you could put here quality tires, just an example, quality tires from £300. So people looking, and you specifically state £300 here. So people looking for cheap tires or second-hand tires for $99 or £99 will not click on that. You want your ad to be as relevant as possible. For example, you say luxury villas. Features and benefits. Always put the benefits on top of your ad, and the features a bit at the bottom. So you must be very careful to distinguish between benefits and features. Be very specific, give specific information. Again, this is going to separate your company from all the competitors, which so many ads are looking very generic now at the moment. And of course, always include some scarcity and urgency, that they have a limited time to act, or if they do not act within 30 days, the sale is going to come to an end. And of course, you've got to keep on updating your ad to make sure it's always relevant, up to date. The anatomy of top performing ads. Let's look at some examples of highly successful top performing ads. These are usually done by very, very large companies. For example, Walmart, Nike, Microsoft, because they have the top team of copywriters. And of course, they spend billions of dollars on advertising budgets, and they keep repeating the ads, so they must be successful in what they're doing. So just pick a few of the successful companies you know of or that you like, and you can put the way you analyze it, you put the advert on the right side. This is, just type in, for example, you just type in Udemy in Google, and your analysis on the left hand side, which I've done here. So this is what I got from Google when I typed Udemy. I got the paid ad on the top, and at the bottom is the SEO or the organic search, which is unpaid, which is a free. The important thing to note here, it's always good to have both of these on a web page. Just because you see your ad coming up as organic and free does not mean you should not pay. I always recommend having paid ads and free ads, so you end up taking the whole top space in Google. This is what they do, and of course the competition is pushed out. So let's look at this in some detail. You've got the Udemy website here. They've put a trademark here. It gives it some authenticity, and always put official site. Remember, a lot of the wording here is started with capital letters, but not all of it. You see here, for example, the right instructor for you is all lowercase. Experiment with putting a lot of the words for already learning is in capital letters. The first letter is in capitals. So millions of users, wow, amazing, around the world. They should put millions of users worldwide, would have been even better, because their users are international. And of course that shows social proof, that shows people are already using it and they're getting some level of success. If you see the word millions has been repeated here, you don't want to repeat it too many times. So this is the 2 lines for the heading. That's why it's in different color. Then you have the description here. Again, 2 lines for description. We will not go too much over now at this bottom part, which is the extensions. We'll cover that a bit later. You're using description like search and find, and any topic you want. So this is like almost, if you think of it as USPs or even the benefits you can get. Now we have very specific call to action like join or download. Join here, I can see that straight here. And it's using very personalized language for you. For you. Not just find the right instructor, but for you. Again, the USPs we can see here, it puts international, it puts top level experts, the right instructor. It doesn't just say instructor, it's the right instructor. And they're experts in their knowledge of field. You also, what makes it unique is you get lifetime access, you get, so these are very specific USPs. 30-day money back guarantee, lifetime access. It's very unique to Udemy. Also, you de-risk. If I buy this, I can always get my money back if I'm not happy. So you're putting a de-risking factor in here. Very important. They're putting very specific figures, save 90% or save 80%, right, from your courses. And they've also put a huge figures here. Always put in figures because it stands out. 10,000 courses to choose from, right, for IT, while over 100,000 courses in total, which is very significant. Again, these figures are very unique to Udemy, which makes them stand out. Action, words, join, learn. Let's look at, as I mentioned, they have put capitals to start some of the words, but not all of them. Maybe that's a good idea. You can look to your phone. They put capitals starting, expert instructors. Also, for some reason, they've left space here. As I said, I would have preferred to put millions of learners worldwide to show that it is definitely an international company. Although they have used the word, international. And now they're using exclamation marks. You can see that here they're using an exclamation mark. You have to be careful not to use too many symbols. They've used another one here. And also they've highlighted Udemy in bold. So there's just some examples to look at and analyze in detail until you become very, very good at this. And this comes, naturally to you. And of course, you've got to tailor this to your specific company and organization as well. Let's look at another one. Again, a very, very popular brand. Always start with brands. Again, they've done the right thing. They've put the paid ad. So they've paid for the ad and they've got the free ad here. This is their extensions, which we'll cover later. They use the same thing, official site. They've left a bit of a gap here. This is specifically to do with Christmas promotion, as you can see. So they're getting people excited about specific Christmas offers. And now it's showing there's a wide variety of stuff for men's, kids, whatever. It's also showing the benefits that's timeless classics, meaning it's not going to wear out of fashion. And it's for family and home. Free delivery. Again, USPs, but only above £70. And it gives the top brands, again, there are portions here that have to do with extensions that we'll go over in a minute. But you can see the Ralph Lauren is put in bold here. So get a few of the top performing ads and analyze them and see what makes them very unique and why these ads are so successful, and get ideas from them to put in your own ads, but then you'll have to make your ads unique to your company as well.
Okay, I'll just repeat it again that you've got to put a lot of emphasis on doing your research for getting the ad copy or the ad text correct, as well as keywords before you start doing the campaign. I've just given you a slight walkthrough of how to run the campaign, but a lot of people make mistakes in the basics and foundation, which is the keywords and how to write the ad copy. So make sure you get that correct. So we'll focus on just an introduction to the keywords.
Keyword selection research. This is the process of finding the most relevant and specific word or phrases that searchers could type into the search engine when they're trying to find a business, service, or product. The word search and keywords are used interchangeably. However, search are the words used by the searcher to find something, and keywords are the words that Google Ads advertisers find for a given ad group to target your ad to customers. Ideally, they should be the same. Searcher intent is crucial. A search could be conducted for any number of known and unknown reasons. This is why it's important to categorize the type of searches into groups as follows. So you have search reasons could be educational and knowledge. Usually people ask questions like what, how, where, which is the best way to get to. They're very generic ones, which are very wide open, and these are the ones usually one word, and they have to be avoided because they're too generic, like flowers, cake, churches, shoes, jackets, plants, entertainment, brand, product, and competitors. These tend to be very specific ones because the searcher knows the company or the product extremely well, whether it's your business or product or the competitors, and they are looking for something very specific. Comparison, you have a lot of comparison websites. People are always trying to compare products before they end up buying one. But the most important is the commercial, where the intent is almost clear that someone is just about or very close to taking action or buying something. For example, they might check bookshop near me, cost of a lawyer, good example, emergency plumber, how can I buy, where can I buy, and things like online shopping. Commercial intent. Google will place paid ads in front of searchers only when they type in words that have commercial intent. Good example is if the searcher types in the word tires. So this is about the searcher's goals. What is the next action they're about to take? Are they about to buy a product? The searcher's goals are also influenced by their pain points. This word is very important. The pain points. How urgent is the solution for them? Do other people have this problem? How long have they been searching for a solution? These words or keywords are referred to as bottom of the funnel, where there's very clear commercial intent. This means that the searcher is ready to buy, so you must focus your keyword research to find these type of keywords. The rest of the keywords, the vast majority, are middle or top of the sales or conversion funnel. This means that you will need to find the few required keywords from the sea of other keywords. From the perspective of Google, they want to place an ad only if they understand that the searcher who types in information in here is actually ready or looking to buy something. It's going to be a waste of time for Google to place ads if they know from their computer algorithm that the searcher has no intent of buying. Which means the searcher could be looking for other things, just trying to do some research, or just out of curiosity wants to know more information for whatever reason, they will not put paid ads in front of them. Let's look at an example. Say I type in, if my keyword is tires, TYRES, and I just type in learn about tires, and let's see what actually comes up. As you can see here, there's no paid ads in the top section here, because when you type in learn about tires, you could be just doing some informational search, and Google thinks there's no point in them stuffing this top section with paid ads. It doesn't benefit anyone. So it automatically knows that the searcher's intent is not about buying. However, if I change this to buy now tires, or buy new tires, let's see what comes up. You immediately start getting ads, paid ads here in the top section. So immediately Google knows that this person is in buying mode, or is in a buying phase, and let's place some ads in front of this buyer so they can start clicking, and hopefully they'll end up buying from someone as soon as possible. Trade specific keywords. Each type of business will have its own set of keywords that demonstrates buyer intent as follows. For example, a plumber will have things like emergency burst pipe, a leaking ceiling. An accountant will have tax returns, filing, deadlines. Someone selling e-commerce products could have buy, order, price online, where to buy. Or a chiropractor would have chronic back pain near me. Also, there are keywords to avoid, as these are placed higher up the conversion funnel. So as follows, a plumber will have how to, something like DIY. An accountant could be things like someone's researching a software product, or top tips, how to save tax. For example, a product e-commerce, you'd have compare, review, best discount, sales, cheap. Chiropractor, you might just want to read a book about it, or how to relieve my back pain. So these have to be avoided. These keywords have to be avoided. There are many more low or non-conversion keywords compared to commercial keywords. You have to start with about 10 commercial keywords. So this is our goal, keyword stage of awareness. And here, when we set a keyword, it's very, very high intent, but it's probably low volume, right? Up here in the red circle, that's to be avoided, where there's a very, very large volume, but low buyer intent. Good example would be just if someone used the word shoes, or cap, or some sort of house tool, or just cooking, baking. There's no buyer intent there. Best practice for finding new keywords. Just some tips on how to find keywords, what to avoid, what to not avoid. Read this very carefully. Think like your customer first, and understand their goals and objectives and how close they are to the conversion funnel. Be specific but not too specific. Highlight well-known brands in your offering, because brands tend to brand keywords tend to convert very highly, or if person is looking for a specific product within a brand. Be descriptive. Use multiple keywords or phrases. and use location wisely. As part of my planning stage, I spend lots of quality time on keyword research. This then helps me to optimize all my campaigns. I also use a few keyword tools, both paid and free, to broaden my research. Advertiser Andy. These are the steps you need to take in order to conduct keyword research very effectively, and you have to spend a lot of time doing this, so make sure you use your time very efficiently. First is find your seed keyword. The seed keyword is the one that has very high intent that the customer is going to buy. For example, it could be obtained from the website, from your website. You have like running shoes or dancing shoes, kitchen installation, boiler repair. Once you have the seed keyword, then everything is going to be based around that seed keyword. You use the keyword tool, of course use a mix of free and paid tools, and use more than one keyword tool, which we'll demonstrate in this section. Then based around that seed keyword, do your keyword research. You also need to get negative keywords. These are keywords that if a searcher types into Google these keywords, you do not want your ad to show up. And of course you'll get match types where which I call positive keywords, where if a user types in those keywords, you want your ads to show up. Set up the Google Ads group and the ads. You can set up 2 ad groups and include 2 ads in each. You set up separate ad groups for different subjects or different intent, just to see how people are reacting to your ad. And then after you run your campaign, you'll see that Google gives you a search term report of actually the words that the searcher types in, and when your ad is shown, so you can actually see the actual words the searcher types in, and then you might decide to add them to your campaign or remove them. So this is more like post-campaign, after you've set up your campaign and the campaign is running for a few days. Remember to use keywords at least 1 each in your ad. So you'll have to use one of the keywords in your headlines, 1 in the description, and 1 keyword in the display URL. So this is the guidelines. Google provides these guidelines. Choose your keywords carefully. Make sure that your keyword directly relates to the theme of your ad and the page that you are directing the customer to. We always talk of landing pages here. We'll cover this in the next section. It's got to be a very specific page. So for example, if you have men's running shoes, you have to put the URL or link that the searcher will click on that takes them directly to men's running shoes, or babies' shoes, for example. Then it has to have a link that directly takes them there. Group similar keywords. For example, if you sell rings, you can have a group of keywords for engagement rings and another one for wedding rings. So these are slightly different themes, and you want to put them in different ad groups. Pick the right number of keywords. They give between 5 and 20 keywords per ad group. I would say even less than that. Say up to 10, and I'll show you an example of that. So let's look at an example here. This will make more sense. So this is the campaign we are running for rings. We can call this the rings campaign. And we decide to create 2 ad groups. You can call it ad group 1, ad group 1B, or ad group 1 and 2. This ad group 1 will be specifically for engagement rings, and the second ad group will be for specifically wedding rings. All the keywords in the first ad group will have a theme around engagement rings. So you put in about 10 keywords here, and they'll be based around engagement rings, like buy engagement ring now, where can I find engagement ring, best engagement ring review. Of course, you can find these just by typing into Google Keyword Plan engagement ring. You'll get a whole range of searches that people do, and we'll go through the walkthrough. And of course, then you create 2 ads based around engagement ring. Each of these ads will direct the searcher directly to, and specifically to, the engagement ring only landing page of your website. Ad A and B will only have very, very minor differences because you are split testing them. You just want to see a slight difference. So you might change 1 or 2, they're almost identical ad words, but you might just change 1 or 2 words within each one of them to see which performs better. We'll go into optimization a bit later in the course. In here, you just repeat a similar process. This time your ad group name will be and themed around wedding rings, and that is the seed keyword that you're using is wedding rings. All the keywords here will be based around wedding rings. So it could be buy wedding rings now, best wedding rings on the market, where can I get wedding rings? And you'll have 2 ads A and B. Again, very minor changes between them. You just want to check. So they'll be almost identical. You just want to check the difference. You change 1 or 2 words in the text of the ad, which performs better. And each of these ads will direct the user specifically to, or the searcher specifically to the landing page that relates to wedding rings only. Where do keywords, ad groups, and ads fit into your campaign? As you can see, in this Word document here, we create the campaign first, which is this step up here on the top. Immediately after you create your campaign, the next step is you create an ad group. That is the next step, as you can see here in the flowchart on the top. So immediately after the campaign is your ad group. And then within the ad group, so we are giving the ad group a name here. Yeah. Within the ad group, you've got to insert your keywords. So this is the ad group, you give it a name, then you put in the keywords, which we'll describe into more detail in this section. And then you immediately press save and continue, and then you'll create the first ad after that, right? So so this is the next step here, is creating the first ad. So if I click on this, the next step within the process is create ad, as you can see on the top. We create the ad and press done. So that's the first ad within the first ad group. We can press done, or we can press done and create next ad, because usually what happens, why it has this tab at the bottom, is to do it correctly, we should really create 2 ads with a slight difference in wording between the 2, and both these ads are placed under the same ad group. And once we have the campaign running, it's called split testing. We can see which ad is doing better over a period of time, say a few days or weeks. And then the ad that is underperforming, we remove it, or we pause it, and we place another ad. And then we repeat the process again.
Right. Thanks, folks, for attending this webinar. Just to give you an overview, it's quite a detailed subject. The course, where this is based on 7.5 hours, if you all want to buy it, I'll give you a special discount, and I'll email you all the details. Apologize for showing the screens, because I'm actually showing you a screenshot of the Udemy screen. So the actual module looks very squashed and very small. I'm using a Mac 27-inch screen with a lot of other screens here. I'm trying to play around with them. It's a lot of stuff going on here. I will stay around for another 10 minutes if you all have any questions, any burning questions. Or hello, Jerome. Yeah, if you all have any questions, please drop them to me. If it's very, very detailed, you all can either join the course and email them to me. I'm constantly updating the course. There's a section also on display ads, which is to do with actually adding images. What we've done now is purely text. There's images, plus I will also be, at the moment I'm working on doing the YouTube section as well. So you can put in YouTube's ad, because it's all owned by Google. What I was trying to show you was an overlay. Sorry about that, but what I want to show you is, it is a very big market. Remember, it's $100 billion, Google Ads. And this is Google Trends. If you, without going into too much detail, I've overlaid Google Ads and Google Trend, Facebook and Google Ads. As we know, Google Ads is much, much bigger, and it's been there for much longer. So that is the one that makes huge amounts of money. In about 3 months' time, I'll also do a course on Facebook ads as well. So these 2 are the predominant advertising companies in the world. What I hear is, for every £1 spent on ad, Google and Facebook take about 60 cents or 60 pence. Yeah. So the more you know about these, the better, right? And I suggest it's always good to know, even if you can start with very, very basic stuff, it's good for you. Plus, in the course, I just show you a bit of it. I've got a full keyword planner ready for you to just type and go. That's part of the course as well. So any more questions? I'll wait for another 10 minutes. You all can ask me the questions in this in the chat box. I'll wait for another 10 minutes, and really appreciate the time that I've taken. It's been very long, 1.5 hour session. So the fact that you all have been here for that time is great, and hope you'll learn something. And I would strongly suggest try and get into it, even if you can just put your foot in and learn a few things. There's a lot to learn. Definitely for Google ads and Facebook ads as well. We don't know what will happen in the future, but at the moment, they are the predominant networks. I'll try and do something for Facebook ads in about 3 months. And any more suggestions, please put it through the course. I'm constantly developing the course, adding more modules. At the moment, it's 7 hours. I want to make it about 10 hours. Thanks very much. And I'll just hang around for another 5-10 minutes.